Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live hangout here at Voice Essentials. So good to be with you. If you are watching this as a replay, you are welcome too. Of course, this is a live show that we record every Monday at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And we often do these Q&As where we will answer, I will do my best to answer your singing questions. But of course, if you're watching this as a replay, then you can't throw your questions into the live chat. You just need to ask your questions in the comments section, and I'll do my best to answer those, as I find them, as they go live. I would get, I don't know, hundreds. It's coming close to being in the hundreds of questions every week on YouTube. I do my best to answer most of them, but as you can understand, there's only one of me. And so anyway, we do these live shows, and that way I get to answer your questions in a little bit more detail every Monday. That's what we're doing today. Now, next week we have our final guest for the year. We only have 2 shows left after today. So we've got next week's show, and then the 30th, Monday the 30th of November will be our final show for the year. We take a couple of months off. We give Linda, our wonderful moderator in the live chat, we give her a holiday, give me a holiday, and then we come back in February 2021. But we've still got the 2 shows to go after today. And so next week's last guest for 2020 is Professor Brian Gill. Seriously, don't miss this show. It will be wonderful. We're going to be talking about volume. In fact, I think I've named it Pump Up the Volume or whatever. And it's going to be great. He's going to talk to us about how to establish sustainable, balanced, healthy volume that is stylistically appropriate, and it's going to be a fabulous show. He's one of the world's leading experts in the area of vocal resonance and the development of volume, etc. So that is a show not to be missed. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, this channel, Dr. Dan's Voice Essentials, and hit the white bell icon, because when you do, then you will receive a reminder via the YouTube notification process straight to your email, and you'll never miss a show. What a year it has been. Wow, what a year it has been. Do you know what? It's been a crazy year for everyone. You know, this time last year, none of us could have, in our wildest of dreams, thought that 2020 would look anything like what it has. And so, look, wherever you are, I hope you are safe, healthy, and doing well. And why don't you into the live chat now? I've seen Evo and Mackenzie have been letting us all know that they're both from Arizona. Why don't you let us know where you're hailing from, and throw that into the live chat. Let us know what the weather is like. I know in the northern hemisphere it's starting to get a little cooler up there, whilst down here we're starting to get a little bit warmer. I was doing my hedges. I've got a big hedge at the back of my property, and I did it. I purposefully got in and did it really early in the morning, and I'm so glad I did, because even by 10 a.m. when I finished, I was just a lather of sweat. So anyway, the changing seasons, and as all of us progress into the festive season of Christmas and New Year's, which is kind of how did we get to here? So it feels like it took us forever through 2020 to get to here, and now that it's here, it feels like, wow, where did the year go? So anywho, so throw your questions into, we've got some questions coming in now. Just a reminder around the super chat, if you firstly want to support the channel, and secondly want to have your question prioritized, then you've got to throw a super chat in there, and you will make sure that your question gets answered during today's live show. Otherwise, we just go through them as they get asked. And Mackenzie Kate, she's got a question in there straight away, which we'll get to in a moment. Yeah, but it's been what a year it has been, and I'm really looking forward to a break. I don't know about you. I am looking forward to taking a break. Now, before we get into the questions, I do just want to remind you all that this year we have released, most of you know, and going along the bottom here, there's a scroller that's talking about the Voice Essentials online courses. And back in 2018, I think I released the first one. Beginning of 2019, I released the first online course, Voice Essentials 1, which is for the beginner singer. And then at the beginning of this year, we released Voice Essentials 2, and that's for the intermediate singer. And then I did something crazy, and I said to my wife in around about May, I said, you know what, I'm just going to push through, and I'm going to make sure that we release Voice Essentials 3 by the end of 2020. I had scheduled to do it in the beginning of 2021, but I thought, no, let's just head down, get it done, so that you could have access to all of that. Now that is going live. Voice Essentials 3 will go live. It will go live. I can tell you now, because it's pretty much all done. There's just a few little cosmetic tweaks that we're doing, but it's all there. It will get released December 1st, as promised. Now, so many of you have already taken advantage of the heavily discounted prices that we're giving for the Voice Essentials 3 online course. We've also got a really big discount currently on the Pro bundle. And I've also just put a special discount price on Voice Essentials 1, bit of a COVID coupon, if you will, and you can get that for $100 off at the moment. Those specials are running through till the 1st of this. In fact, they're running through until 11:59 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on the 30th of November. So that means we've only got something like 14 days left of those specials. If you haven't already taken advantage of these like massive discounts, I encourage you to do so. These courses, I'm so proud of them because they are helping singers to develop better technique. That is what we are all here doing at Voice Essentials. What we're all about, it's what I'm passionate about, is equipping your voice to realize its full potential. And you really can't do that until you establish a foundation to build your voice upon. And that's what the Voice Essentials program or learning pathway, I prefer to refer to it as a learning pathway, that's what it does for you. And I want to really encourage you, if you haven't already commenced that journey, then do so. It will benefit your voice. You know, you can go and read up on it in your own time, but I encourage you to dive in and really invest in your voice as we approach the start of a new year, and that would be a good thing to do. Let's get into some Q&A, shall we? And we'll do that right after this. Okay, I think we're good for sound. We are good for sound. Let's jump in here and we're going to give the first. Now I wanted to jump. Where am I? I saw a question here before from a couple of weeks ago that I just wanted to talk to, but I've lost it and I won't be able to get it back. So I'm just going to jump straight into Ishki Films. What is better, chest voice or head voice? Just a small question I'd like answered. That is not a small question. Well, it kind of is actually a small question. in so much as there is no better. And it's a funny thing, you know, we as human beings, don't we? We like to black and white everything, you know, good, bad, you know, pretty, ugly. Like it's, you know, and it's almost like, you know, we polarize everything. And sadly, with, you know, modern day social media and politics, and everything gets, you know, camped left or right, north or south. And there's no good or bad when it comes to voice. Now, really, it's all about the task. It's about the task at hand. What is your task? And it's really important to establish. So if you want to be a metal singer, you want to sing distorted vocal, then you can certainly do that. You can learn to do that in a far more sustainable way than just, you know, standing next to a wall and shouting at it. But nonetheless, that is a high cost item for the voice. And so we've got to be really careful that we identify, well, what's going to cost me more vocally? And we do that, we establish, you know, so it's not a matter of good, bad, or ugly. It's a matter of what is stylistically appropriate, what is the most efficient way that I can do that, and then how do I apply that? And so when it comes to chest voice or head voice, we've got to think about the style you're singing. There's no sense in trying to sing, you know, a 1980s power ballad in head voice with what's referred to as a lengthened dominant upper register sound, because it will just lack power, you know, and power ballad requires power. But equally, you know, there's a whole heap of contemporary artists coming out now with, you know, pop songs that are very lengthened dominant. So that if you lent too much weight to that, if they were too chesty, then that won't exactly serve either. So it's not a matter of either or, it's a matter of establishing your capacity, your ability to work across your entire range. I had a big conversation with one of my private students last week where we really unpacked this. It's almost a shame I didn't record that lesson, because it would have been such a great lesson to upload to YouTube and talk about. But it's not. It's a matter of we workshop each register in isolation to a certain extent, but then it's about bringing those registers together and being able to gear shift, being able to move between those registers fluently, and that takes time. But what I can tell you is the Voice Essentials online learning process, the Voice Essentials courses will help you to do that. We've had a super chat here from Evo. Once appropriately warmed up with 15 to 30 minutes to spare, pick the top 2 VEs, 1 or 2 exercises to work out for the intermediate singer. Oh, Evo. Do you know what? I think the sibilant fricatives would be good. It's actually exercise 20 in Voice Essentials 2. That would be a good place for you to start, Evo. Then where would we send you? Look, the Voice Essentials 2 has the 2 riffs and runs, exercise 34 and 35, and has the 2 riffs and runs activities, which are, you know, there's some half the track is prescriptive where it's call and response, but then half of the track is given for freeform, where you can really explore the creative aspects of your voice and make up your own riffs and runs. So that would be somewhere to go. A couple of tracks that I really enjoy. I could probably sit here and just go through the entire track listing of Voice Essentials 2, because they're all great. But I really enjoy the pentatonics, the minor pentatonic and the major pentatonic. So it's the major first, which is 27, and 28, which is the minor. These are all really, really good activities. So Evo, that's where you might want to end up. You probably want to sort of finish your vocal workout with the riffs and runs. And so I hope that answers your question. Good question. The Super King, thanks for your super chat, and thanks Evo also. Guys and gals, the super chat. It not only does it make sure I answer your question, but it does go to supporting the channel. And so don't, know that, when you do a super chat, it's not only a selfish act to get your question answered, it's also supporting what we do here as a community. And so I am very, very thankful when I see these super chats come through. So thank you, Super King and Evo. I observe singers like Philip Quast sing often with an O-shaped mouth. I sing more with a smile-shaped mouth and produce good resonance and placement. Can you explain if either way is the more correct way? I sing pop and rock. Super King, if we were to go back, even as recently as 10 years' time, we would have been really teaching very intentionally. In fact, I was teaching very intentionally what we referred to as east to west formation for contemporary vocals. I think to a certain extent this still stands, but I'm less prescriptive on this now because it was in reaction to classical voice, which is very what was referred to as north to south. So you would think width this way for classical, and you would think sort of width this way for contemporary. Because now in the modern age, and when I say in the modern age, I'm talking in the last 10 years of voice, and this has come about, I think, in part because of the advent of YouTube, Spotify. There is such a this, and I'll see if that's going to improve it any. I've changed over to a different mic, but for some reason, and so let me see if that's back on. Yeah, so is that working now? Yes. Okay. So I've changed to a different mic. Not my okay, hopefully that's working. So what I was saying, apologies everyone. What I was saying was we back in the 20th, going back about 10 years, we used to very much have this idea of north to south for classical and east to west for contemporary. With the hybrid nature of voice now, I think we're less given to suggesting that that's what we do. There's been such a cross-pollination of genres that it's almost like we get there's not as clean a distinction between these things, and so I'm less prescriptive around that now, Super King, and so I would be less given to saying what's right or wrong, and simply observing the singer when I'm with them to see what is working best for them, and you know, I think more often than not, the resonant values, the tonal values that we look for in contemporary voice, or that the singer themselves is in search of, more often than not will lead to a more, you know, left to right, east to west. But nonetheless, you know, sometimes we look at, you know, if people are going into things like opera and stuff like that, they might want a little bit of north and south. So it really does come down to what are you wanting to sing, and how are you want. Even if, you know, if we say, okay, you, like you've said, Super King, if you want to sing pop and rock, then I'd go looking, yeah, but now we kind of ask ourselves the question, what kind of pop, what kind of rock, and then that may then determine what we decide. Yeah, apologies again for all of the what do we call it? The sound issues. We obviously still have not fixed. For those of you who were watching last week's show, we had some issues go on with the audio, and it's funny because I'm using the same audio system that I use for all of my online students, and no one has suggested that we've had issues. So there's something going on in the connection with YouTube, I think. But hopefully this is now working much better. Let me come back to Mackenzie Kate's question. Hi, Dr. Dan, I'm doing 7 days to a better voice over 7 weeks. That's not a bad way to do it, Mackenzie. And I'm currently on day 3, breath management. How do I practice the inhale, suspend, exhale exercise without getting dizzy? So interesting thing. So many of you may not know, I actually have a free mini course that you can sign up to. It's completely 100% free. If you go to 7 days to a better voice, that's the number 7 days to a better voice.com, that will take you to the landing page that you can put your email address into, and you can join. You can then you get it. This is all 100% free. I actually give you a small, you download a small lesson pack of exercises, exercise tracks, and then every day for 7 days, I will send you an email that goes through a different subject. Day 3, as Mackenzie is letting us know, is about breath management. And there's an exercise on there about it's all about slowing our breath flow down, and managing the whole system and workshopping that. Yeah, so anywho, coming back to how do I practice the inhale, suspend, exhale exercise without getting dizzy? Firstly, we want to make sure, Mackenzie, that we are breathing deeply, that we're allowing our diaphragm to descend nicely and completely, so that we're getting good amounts of air in. It's not an exercise where we're looking to increase volume, but we are looking to take a complete, well-managed breath. And then, yeah, as long as we're doing that, the dizziness thing, and this is not an unusual thing, Mackenzie, so don't freak out. It can take time for your body to become a little bit more used to how that will feel and how that will work. So something to just be be attentive to it. With regular use, you should experience less dizziness. But from memory, Mackenzie, you've shared with us here on the live chat that you've got some health concerns. You've certainly asked health-related questions from memory, and so I would just be double checking with your licensed healthcare professional, your doctor, your family doctor, that what we're doing in the exercise is okay. Just to double check that. Okay, let's come down to Zulfikar Marasabesi. I always give it a shot. I apologize. I'm almost certainly pronounced that incorrectly. Asks the question, how to sing high notes easily? Well, singing high notes easily is not always easy. You developing high notes, you know, a little metaphor I often use is, the higher you want the skyscraper to go, the deeper the foundation must be. And so one of the challenges that we see online a lot is that what I observe online a lot is just this sense of immediacy to sing higher. And it's where, you know, certainly I get reported back to me a lot by private students is they were doing, you know, XYZ with their voice because, you know, certain YouTube channel suggested that this is how you sing high. You just do XYZ and boom, you get high notes. It's not that simple. You do have to set up the voice at a mechanical and acoustical level and manage both of those aspects, and then also make sure your breath is working. And we're going to talk about this, I dare say, with Professor Brian Mill next week. Set it all up so it works really evenly and consistently, and that you are achieving high notes in a healthy, sustainable manner that has balance. And that's going to be the thing that, you know, you need to do. Again, the Voice Essentials online course will help you to do that. AC1 Music, can someone start singing if he doesn't have experience? Absolutely, 100%. You know, the tagline I leave it in a lot of places here on Voice Essentials is Voice Essentials where everybody sings. You know, when I went through college, one of my lecturers had a saying, is your all or is your all some? You know, when I say everyone, I'm not just meaning every one of the elite or everyone who sounds all right. No, Voice Essentials is a place where everybody sings. Singing there is no prerequisites. There is no qualification path. You can just sing if you want to. Now, you know, I've told this story before. I think dance is similar. Everyone is allowed to dance. You know, whether it be at a wedding or a party or in celebration of what have you. That doesn't mean you want to dance. I'm one of those people where I don't like to dance. It's just me. You know, I celebrate those who do. My wife, if we go to weddings, I have to drag her off the dance floor. She loves the nut bush. You know, that's a hit here at weddings in Australia. But I'm not that person. And so you don't have to sing, but you know, it is an activity for everyone. And so AC1 Music, you should start singing if that's what you passionately want to do. And my free mini course or my online course, if you want to invest some serious dollars into your voice, will help you and guide you along that path. BTS fan Dan, I like your videos. You teach me a lot, so I just wanted to thank you for it. Oh, Well, thank you, BTS fan. I appreciate that, and I love the fact that you took the time to say thanks. So, thank you. Dylan Aldape, how to know if you can sing? Well, that's kind of the next step on from what I'm saying is that everyone can sing. So then what we do is we decide, okay, do I just want to, let's say I decided I wanted to dance. Now, I've just told you all I'm not overly keen to, but let's say I have a change of heart and I decide I want to dance. Well, then the next question comes in, well, where do I want to dance? If all I want to do is join my wife on the dance floor at wedding receptions, and get up there and wiggle my hips for a couple of moments, then there's really no need for me to take up dance lessons to do that. But if I decide I want to really explore the world of dance and I want to develop the skill, maybe not with the view to becoming a professional dancer, but perhaps I want to develop my dance because I find that I really enjoy it and I really love it, then I might take the time to invest into that craft by taking some dance lessons. And so the same thing goes with your singing. And it's through that process that we develop an awareness, a self-awareness of what is going to be my capacity as a singer. Just like I would discover my capacity as a dancer. Now, funnily enough, because I've done a little bit of music theatre, professional amateur music theatre in my younger years, about 20 years ago, and I did actually take some dance lessons because I wanted to improve my dance enough to do the roles that I was doing in the music theatre. Do you know what I discovered about my ability to dance? It was rather limited, but I could develop the skills and acquire enough movement to do what I needed to do and be successful. And so it's a matter of identifying to what do I want to achieve. Now, in part, those lessons gave me a good opportunity to reflect back on me and go, okay, I'm no Michael Jackson when it comes to voice or dance. One of my best mates, his daughter dances, and she's a teenager. She dances to a very high level. She is what some people might refer to as a gifted dancer, but she's worked very, very, very hard to really refine that gifting. And so it all comes down to it's a self-exploration, and to determine, I can tell you can sing. It's just you exploring and discovering to what level, what is going to be your capacity overall. Evo's thrown another super chat in here. Sorry for the subjective last one here, but how do you coach your students how to not try too hard? Yeah, Evo, it's a thing, isn't it? Trying too hard certainly can be a thing, and I do have to say to some students, stop. You're trying too hard. You are driving at the voice with too much oomph. And we have to sometimes take a moment, release, check our body, check our mind. Yeah. Sometimes what's driving the trying too hard is perfectionism. And so we've got to really take a moment to reflect on that and go, what am I driving at? trying too hard for? And so sometimes it's a matter of identifying what is it that the singer is aiming for, and sometimes that requires a mental adjustment as much as it does a physical adjustment. And so Evo, I encourage you to explore both of those points. Keep up with the music. I really need an answer for this question. How can you prevent voice cracks? Keep up with the music, that may well be partly, well, I'd first of all have to ask about your age, because your age may have an implication upon that. I'm not telling you to tell my age in the chat. I'm just saying age may have a place. Voice cracks, if you have an adult voice cracks are almost certainly due to an imbalance of the way your breath pressure, your breath flow, and your musculature are interacting, as well as the resulting acoustic as the air flows through the vocal tract. And so we need to go looking for a rebalancing of the whole system to ensure that you don't, you're not creating. It's typically because the voice is under too much load, and so you get this sort of flip out that can be a bit of a challenge. Chad is asking, hi, I'm a big fan of your exercises and content. Thanks, Chad. Something that I've been curious about is if it's possible to learn to sing a countertenor role in a non-classical styles. Well, when we talk about countertenor, and many people would refer to my voice as countertenor, I say here all the time, I've got a whole, my most successful video on the channel is about voice types, which is kind of ironic because I don't get hung up on voice types, but the very fact that the video is as successful as it is shows that everyone else is getting hung up on it. So I don't get hung up on whether I'm a countertenor. What I have is Daniel's voice, and Chad, what you have is Chad's voice. Now, if that is a light high tenor like my own, then you have to look to apply that to your own vocal context in manners that you feel will work for you. So it doesn't come down to whether it's going to be classical or contemporary. With classical voice, there are definite markers, there are definite prescriptive things that you have to apply your voice to. I am not a classical singing teacher, and therefore I would not be bold enough as to suggest what they should or shouldn't be. But I would be encouraging you in the world of contemporary vocal, rock, pop, country, jazz, indie folk, modern music, theatre, then again establish what are the values of the style that you're looking to establish. Are you looking to do anything individualistically different about that? And then start there, and then determine whether your voice is going to serve that or not. I humbly think you can. We have a singer I often refer to in my private lessons as a singer, a wonderfully gifted singer here in Australia, Kate Miller-Heidke. I had the great pleasure in my younger years of singing with Kate. She's an incredible talent, represented Australia at Eurovision last year, a couple of years ago. Anyway, the point being is 15 years ago, when she was really working into her craft and becoming, hitting the scene, the way she was singing was not contemporary correct. It was light. It was very, very light from a pop point of view. It didn't have the big power, solid, push that we would normally hear from for example, a Katy Perry or ones like that, but yet there is no questioning her pop idiosyncrasies, and it's because Kate, it works with her voice. She doesn't try to fit her round peg into a square hole. She just works with what she's got. And yeah, so I think that's, we can all take a really important lesson from that. Movie Geek. I can sing in high note and low notes, but I'm not able to sing in middle, high range of my vocal range. Movie Geek, I would encourage you to go and check out my video about vocal registers, and also look into semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. They will help you to bring the connections through, transition the voice, and you'll find that really helpful with that. So yeah, it takes a lot of work. There's no magic wand. There's no step 1, 2, 3. Well, there are steps, because there are things that you can develop and work on. But more to the point, it will take you time. And the most underrated, under-celebrated aspect of vocal development is time. And it never ceases to amaze me, even when I've been working with a student for 2-3 years, privately, one-on-one, that singer can still have discoveries. They can still have penny drops where the voice unlocks into something that we may have been working on for months, and then suddenly the brain figures it out because we've been teaching it, we've been directing it towards better outcomes, more balance, and then boom, and then there's such, I teach for those moments. We have a lot of those moments in the beginning stages of a learning to sing process. Certainly I do with my students. And then, as the journey continues on over time, those moments, they do get further and further apart. But I tell you what, it makes them all the more rewarding when those moments happen, because you just know the students worked so hard for them, and we always celebrate those moments. That's what keeps me. That's what gets me up in the morning. It's those moments. The anticipation that could happen today in the lesson. How are we going for time? We're going to have to finish up. Please do not put any more super chats in. Just a heads up, so that we don't disappoint anyone. I'm going to give the last question to friendly neighbour Daryl. Oh, I'm glad you're a friendly neighbour, Daryl. What's the best way to practice regulating your voice? Well, that regulating could be regulating volume. It could be regulating stamina. There's a whole range of ways we could think about that. But pretty much the underlying answer to any of those is know thy voice. Know your instrument. And the way we learn to know our voice is to spend time with it. I find that the best way, the most consistent way to do that is, in fact, to do vocal exercises, technical work. Because when you just sing songs, you're getting to know the song, you're not getting to know your voice. Whereas when you do technical exercises, you are getting to know your voice. The exercise, really, in one sense, certainly this is the case with beginner level exercises, are rather mundane. Ya, ya, ya. I don't have to remember lyric to do that. I've just got to pitch it, and I've just got to. While I'm doing a rather mundane task, I can be really zoning in on the physicality of what my body is or isn't doing. And so I'm getting to know my voice. Whereas when you're singing a song, as I just said before, when you're singing a song, you won't get to know your voice predominantly because you're getting to know the song. And so that would be one thing I'd want to tell you. Now, Sanjeev, I have seen your super chat, and I'm going to answer it. Everyone else, no more super chats. This is the last super chat because this is the last question for today, because then we've got to finish up. But Sanjeev, you snuck it in there. Well done. Dear Dr. Dan, are there any exercises to develop full-bodied stage voice so it can go far enough distance without using a mic? There are, and there's a whole range of exercises throughout the Voice Essentials suite of 50 exercises. And in Voice Essentials 1, exercise 4, 5, 6, 7 are all beneficial to developing a greater sense of intensity and therefore volume into your sound. And Sanjeev, if you are enrolled already in the Voice Essentials online course, we go into that in module 2 and module 3 and module 4. So, we get right into that sort of stuff, and you would get that, you get a lot of value out of that, and so you might want to go and check that out. Wow, what a day! And what's with the audio? It's a mystery to me, to be honest. I know we've fixed it, with what I've done here, which was a nice quick fix, but I apologize for the audio issues that we're having, because I really don't know why it's doing that, to be honest. A little frustrating, isn't it? I will try and figure it out, because we've got a guest next week. Professor Brian Gill is joining us, and we are going to talk, actually, Sanjeev, we're going to be talking about volume and all those sorts of things in next week's live hangout, which is our second last one for the year. I'm going to miss you all. I hope you're going to miss me, but we don't have to miss each other just yet. 2 more shows to go, and it'll be so cool to catch up with you all again next week. Don't miss next week. Seriously, this gentleman is one of the world's leading pedagogues. You've got to tune in. You've got to hear Professor Brian. He's been here on the show before, and it was outstanding, and I just know that so many of you will get a lot of value out of it. So make sure you tune in. Australian Eastern Standard Time at 1 p.m. on Monday, which for most of you is on Sunday, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing